My guess is that you are in a different season of motherhood now. Maybe your kids are older, maybe they're getting ready to leave the house, maybe they're already adults. And somewhere along the way, you have started to notice this really quiet reflection showing up for you. It's not loud, it's not dramatic. It's actually very, very subtle. You have begun to see things a little more clearly now. Clear in a way you just couldn't when you were in the thick of it. When you were surviving, managing, juggling the kids and school and schedules and bills, the house and work and everyone else's needs. And that right there, that is important. Because back then, you didn't have the space or time to reflect. You had to function. And so before we go any further, I want you to know this. These reflection audios that I've created for you, they're not meant to be listened to in order. There is no starting point here. And if a title pulled you in, that's where you're meant to begin. And one last thing before we start. This isn't about fixing the past. It is about understanding it. Understanding it without punishing yourself for what you couldn't see then. Okay? Let's begin. There is a moment that happens later in life. It's not when the kids are little. It's not when everything is loud and fast, but rather when the house is a little bit quieter. It's when the kids are just a little bit older, 16, 18, maybe even 21, and you start seeing the patterns more clearly. You recognize something in yourself, the impulse to fix. Now, this isn't in a harsh way. We're just going to look at this very honestly. You see how quickly you move towards solutions, how fast you redirected emotions, how often you stepped in before things had time to settle. And now you are wondering, what did that actually shape? What did that do to the dynamic of my family? Now, I can tell you, you weren't controlling or dismissive. All you were trying to do was help. You were trying to keep things steady because stillness never felt neutral to you. It felt risky. And because I love to talk about honesty, I want to talk about specifically fixing. Fixing is one of the most socially rewarded patterns there is. People thank you for it. They rely on you. They literally call you capable and strong and so dependable. See, you were the one who kept things moving. And I can tell you, for a long time, it worked. It probably prevented escalation. It probably kept the peace a lot of the time in your house. It probably made you feel useful and really good. But now, in this later season, you may be noticing something else. See, your child doesn't maybe always bring you the hard parts. Or when they do, they speak in summaries. They self-correct quickly. They say, "It's fine," before you even respond. And you start to wonder, did they learn that emotions move quickly in this house? Did they learn that feelings need solutions? Did they learn that distress gets improved instead of held? And I can tell you as a parent, that's a heavy realization. But this is the place I want to anchor you. See, awareness is not an indictment of who you were. It's evidence of who you've become. You didn't fix because you didn't care. You fixed because at some point in your own life, feelings escalated when they weren't managed. Discomfort lingered far too long. Problems, they needed answers. So, what did your nervous system do? Your nervous system learned to move. And that wasn't a flaw, it was merely adaptation. But what I can share with you is adaptation, if left unexamined, becomes your child's inheritance. And that's what you are seeing now. Not failure, not failure. This is just a pattern. Now, here's the important shift for this specific season. You cannot go back and parent differently. All right, the past is done. The past is done. We cannot restage conversations from 5 years ago. However, you have the ability to do something far more powerful. What you can do now is you can change how you relate to them. And this is exactly where motherhood after becomes stewardship. Because it's not repair through apology alone, but repair through presence. And here's what that looks like with an older child. They tell you something hard, and then you feel this urge in your body. And I get it. You feel this urge in your body to offer advice. And instead of jumping in, you say, do you want me to listen? Or do you want ideas? That one sentence, that changes the dynamic massively. I know even with my own kids, when we're in the car and I'm listening to what happened at school, I'm listening, but then I also say, hey, bud, hey, sis, you want me to listen just as a mom? Just as a listening ear? Or do you want me to coach? And they will say, you know what? I just want you to listen as a mom. And I'm so glad I asked that question because it's one of those things where we as moms, coach or not, we want to help. We want to offer these solutions, but sometimes we just need to listen. And again, that one sentence can change that dynamic. It signals respect. It creates space. It teaches them that their internal world, it's not a problem to solve. It's just something to be understood. Or maybe they're struggling, all right? And you feel the impulse to clean it up, to manage it, make it better. And instead you say, I trust you to figure this out. I'm here if you need me. That is not disengagement. That is a different level of support. It is a mature support. Now, I want to go a little bit deeper with this. All right, sometimes the fixing wasn't just about them. All right, sometimes it's not about just making everything better for them. Sometimes it was to regulate you. See, when things were emotional, your body activated. See, solutions calm you down. Action felt stabilizing, while stillness, which is doing nothing, felt very exposed. That's why you felt the need to move. And see, that's why awareness matters now. Because if you don't understand what the fixing was doing for you, you will try to overcorrect it. You will swing so far the other way that you will become overly passive. And I can tell you one thing, that is not the goal. The goal isn't to stop helping. It's to choose help. It's to choose help instead of reflectively delivering it. Okay. And this is where we're going to talk about ownership in this season. See, when my child brings me something emotional, am I responding to what they need or to what my nervous system prefers? And that's a very good reflective question, because that question, that changes everything. And I feel it's very important to also now free you from something. See, you don't need to relive every fixing moment to repair your pattern. Okay, your child doesn't need a timeline of apologies of from start to finish. They don't need that. What they need now is a different experience of you. They need to feel that emotions can sit in the room without being redirected. They need to be able to feel that discomfort doesn't threaten a connection. They need to experience you staying. And when you do that consistently, something softens. Even if your child never names it. And I want to share with you that you cannot create emotional safety with your child by rushing past emotion. But what I can tell you is you can create it later by slowing down. Even today, even in this season, even with adult children, even with other relationships, you can apply this the same way. It is not too late to change the emotional texture of your relationship. Now, as I always say, I want to strip back all the titles. Not the fixer parent, not the pattern language. This is one mom who has been there speaking to another. You did what you knew how to do. Period. All right? You did what you knew how to do. You kept things moving. You prevented escalation. You carried weight. But now you see more. And seeing more doesn't mean condemning who you were. It means stewarding what comes next. And the healing that I am providing you here in Motherhood After doesn't come from rewriting your past. I will never suggest to you to ever rewrite your past. It comes from embodying the steadiness now. The moment you stay instead of try to solve, the pauses you allow instead of feeling, the questions you ask instead of answering. And it's even just that small little phrase. The phrase where you don't have to try to fix anything. It could just be, do you want me to listen? Or do you want ideas? If you feel you have to say something, say that. Do you want me to listen? Or do you want ideas? Those moments reshape the environment your adult child lives inside. It's not dramatic. It's very quiet. And it's done repeatedly. And I always say, you're not behind. You're not late. We're just more aware. And awareness in this season, it's leadership. Until next time.